Thank you. The Institute of Ageing works within the Martin School with other institutes to consider the challenges of population ageing and how they're going to interact with other 21st century challenges. One of the key statistics that I think is most significant is that within 20 years, half of Western Europe will be aged over 50. We've never had a region of the world where half the population is aged over 50. And at the same time, we will have a quarter of the developed world aged over 65 and a quarter of Asia aged over 60. But it isn't just the growth of older people that is going to dominate, it's also the falling fertility leading to a lack of young people. And it's falling fertility and increasing longevity that is leading to the structural ageing of the globe. And here, if you look at the countries that are marked red, blue and green, they represent countries that respectively will have 1/5, 1/4 and 1/3 of their population aged over 60 by 2050. And indeed, only Africa will remain young. We at the Institute believe that scientific research must address key policy questions. So we work with international organisations to develop strategies for our ageing world. The World Economic Foundation, International Social Security Association, World Health Organization, for example. And I'll go through these as we look at our research. It's very clear that we're going to have to adapt our financial systems to increases in longevity. And we're working with 1.3 million pension records here in the UK to try and understand the drivers of longevity. Governments across the world know they're going to have to promote the productivity of older workers, and it's thus essential that we understand the capacity changes as we age. So we've linked with Oxford brain scientists to understand how the brain ages normally and what the capacity implications are. And we've recently done work for the oil and gas industry, whose workers are aging rapidly, to try and understand how they can change their working environments to cope with their older workers. In terms of health for the 21st century, we're going to see a shift from acute medicine across to public health and chronic disease. And we're joining with the New George Institute to address some of these issues. For example, work that we're doing with the Japanese at the moment on robotics. Here we have an intervention study with something called a therapeutic robot. And the intervention study showed that on Japanese patients with Alzheimer's, there was a significant decrease in anxiety and stress and an increase in concentration. And we're working to see whether culturally Britain could adopt that kind of a robotic. It's also clear that this new global world of older people is going to rely increasingly on families and communities to sustain it. We've linked with Oxford engineers to tackle one of the issues in China. Here, the one-child policy has reduced the potential number of older adult children who will care for ageing relatives. And we're working with the Chinese to see if we can create technological communities that can replace children. We're also going to live in a world that's going to be increasingly mobile. And it's going to be essential that we have the institutional international structures to allow the mobility of healthcare, pensions and skills, for example. This builds on some work we're doing on the migration of healthcare workers. Here we have two different societies, Taiwan and the UK, but both increasingly using foreign workers to care for their frail older population. We believe that by 2050, half the population of our cities will be aged over 60. And so we have linked with other institutes in the Future of Cities project, which is run by the Institute of Science, Innovation and Society. And this means that we can address such questions as, how can we design age-friendly and environmentally friendly cities? And here we're working with some Japanese colleagues on this. This kind of scientific research leads to a variety of public policy outputs. Over the last year, the Institute has worked with Swiss Re and the World Economic Foundation on their economic challenges of ageing societies. We've done a report with the Environmental Change Institute for DEFRA on providing food in a future world of food scarcity to vulnerable people. And we've done work with the ISSA on social security in an ageing world. We're contributing to the Foresight Global Environmental Migration Programme on trying to understand the interactions of migration, ageing and the environment. And we're also involved in the Royal Society Working Group on People and the Planet. This, however, I think is going to be the key question for the 21st century. Can we ensure that across the globe we see the increases in longevity that we have experienced in the developed world? How can we ensure that this child in Africa, who currently has a life expectancy of around 35, will enjoy the healthy life expectancy of those in Europe and North America? This girl from Mongolia, she should be the older woman of tomorrow. But is it that she is going to be able to experience the kind of longevity we're not talking about here in Europe and the US? The kind of radical longevity where pharma and the new genetics and biotechnology means that we are looking at the possibility of a normal life expectancy of 100 or 120. And this is something we debate with the Institute of Biosciences. And for us, the thing about being in the Martin School is that we can work with scientists and technology, people who work on governance, to ensure that someone like this girl has the possibility of a healthy life expectancy as her peers in Europe and North America do. Thank you.